CEO Money is sponsored by WF News 1 Incorporated. Views and opinions heard on CEO Money are not necessarily the opinion of this station or its management. Material on this program is intended for general information only and should not be taken as specific investment, tax, or legal advice.
Welcome to CEO Money, with your hosts Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price, interviewing private and publicly traded industry titans. It's a fast-paced show focusing on CEO achievement stories, industry breakthroughs, disruptive technology, and emerging growth companies. CEO Money keeps you ahead of the curve on private and public equity trends you can't get anywhere else. We deliver tomorrow's trade today. And now, here's your hosts, Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price.
Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba.
And I'm Mervyn Price.
All right, we have got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to start with Kory McMullen, CEO, Brightside LED. Kory, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, gentlemen, for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. Kory, you come to us, and I'm going to give special thanks to Jeff Roberts out there, bringing such a great person to the show. Let me back up a little bit. You have, you're the founder of Brightside LED, and you've got, as usual, a depth to you that most people don't get to really recognize because you're kind of a modest guy. But your background coming out of Houston and management and services as a council member and advisor to it was a Gerson Lehman Group and Collaboration and Constitutional Organization, and you're currently the CEO of Brightside LED. But you've got some background with Berkshire Partners, Lask One, Paragon Executive Group, and you specialize in operations, sales, marketing, business valuations, acquisitions, and general counseling. That's some pretty strong stuff. Why don't you bring that out for us and then tell us what Brightside LED does? And I'm sure Mervyn's got a 1,000 questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I have I've been very fortunate in my career to have some amazing opportunities coming out of college, and really started out as a target market analyst, evaluating mergers and acquisitions and identifying customer bases throughout either regional or national company bases on whether they really needed to expand into certain demographic markets, and identifying those markets down to actually almost an intersection. And also identifying where companies have cannibalized themselves to where maybe they had too many locations within a certain geographic area. So, and then have kind of moved on, spent some time in the medical industry and as an executive in operations, and just had a really blessed life, and opportunities have been amazing, and just working hard and driving the car as fast as I can drive it. So I've been able to be a big part of some startup companies that have gone national, and part of one that we've actually just recently taken national with Brightside LED.
Mervyn, please.
Oh yeah, there's little doubt, Kory, looking at you, that you're a very accomplished all-round management, because I candidly have never seen a business model or a methodology of moving through a company the way you've done. It's absolutely unique, and we're going to go into it. So tell us what separates Brightside LED from other companies in the industry.
Well, Brightside LED, we originally went into the LED industry. We primarily were focusing on retrofitting commercial and industrial clients, converting their traditional lighting over to LED. And when we entered into this space, there was just a lot of challenges, and we really ran into three main obstacles. And the first obstacle being the sticker shock from the customer. And so when the customer just gets the shock value of what do you mean this is a $200,000 project to convert my lighting over? And even though their ROIs and simple payback periods were in that 2 to 3 year range, they just didn't have the CapEx dollars, or weren't ready to make an investment of that amount. They just did not realize that the cost to convert over to LED was going to be that high. So we really ran into that one obstacle, and and that was through just in general, there's just a shock value. And so then we ran into the second obstacle. If we could get them past that first one, we ran into the second obstacle of how are we going to finance this? How are we going to work this into our CapEx? How are we going to pay for this? And so we really had a challenge with them from an equipment lease standpoint where, they didn't want to corporately or personally sign. They didn't want something to hit their balance sheet. And it was going to be a year and a half before they were going to work it into their CapEx. And a year and a half passes, a lot of times you lose the opportunity. So that was the second obstacle that we had. And so we kind of ran into the third obstacle as we could get them past hurdle number one and hurdle number two was how do we know your equipment's going to perform? And so what we've done with Brightside LED is through our sales process, every obstacle we've hit, every wall that we've run into, we got very creative in how to overcome those objections. And so where a lot of these companies are out there with a 10 or 12% close rate, with our program, we've been able to overcome all of those objections, eliminate the concerns from the customer, and actually been getting our close rates up into the 40 to 50% range. So I've just been growing at a very rapid rate with our business model.
Let me jump in there for a second, and I want to stay on that business model process too, because I'm looking at your website. But in your industry sector, are you approaching for the audience so they know commercial as well as residential, or what side or both sides of the fence on this?
Well, the commercial and industrial is our target. Residential really doesn't work, and the reason it doesn't work is essentially, LED lighting is saving you money while you're while your lights are on. And so when you convert over to LED, the longer your lights are on, the more money you save. And so in a residential setting where you may only be in your kitchen for 2 hours a day with the light on, it just doesn't really work. So typically we need a business to have their lights on for about 44 hours a week in order for the finances to work. And it's not saying that they can't save money with LED, but with our particular program, the way it's structured, they need to have their lights on for about 44 hours a week in order for it to work inside of our program details.
Typically, what is the savings to the client, the energy savings?
Right. So what we've done is we've structured our program, and we've tried a couple of different things, and we finally find a sweet spot to where our customers typically are saving anywhere from 50 to 70% off the current lighting costs, and we actually eliminate their maintenance costs with our program. But the way our program is structured, when they use our no capital cost program, the customer actually, with that savings, is actually keeping approximately 40 to 60% of that 50 to 70% savings. So we've kind of structured it to where with our service program, they get to keep the lion's share of the savings. And we've noticed that we've closed a lot more projects that way. The customer's feeling better because they're getting to keep the majority of the savings for a no capital cost program.
All right. Now, you said you separate yourselves with your sales process. I'm on your website. No capital investment, no credit check required. How do you do that? I mean, that's got to completely change well, actually, I should put it differently. That's a really disrupting the industry trend, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. And that's why we're seeing the growth rates that we're seeing. And so, we really have like 6 key points in structuring. And we talked about earlier that $200,000 sticker shock. Well, we actually don't show the customer the price anymore because there's no investment on their behalf. In Brightside LED, we make the entire investment on behalf of the customer. They get to keep about 50% of the savings is how we try to structure it. Some of our clients get to keep about 70% of the savings. We run no credit checks, so we strictly look at their financial statements and P&L and balance sheets over a 2-year period. There's no personal or corporate guarantees because they're not taking out a loan. They're not financing anything. So we're paying for that entire investment. So therefore, there's no credit check. That's the reason that there's no credit check. And then we we guarantee their savings. So if we tell them, look, you're gonna be cash flow positive $2,000 a month, month one, throughout the entire term of our service agreement. If they are only $1,200 cash flow positive, we offset their payment to us to make sure that they're $200 or $2,000 a month cash flow positive. And then we service their equipment. So right now there's an astronomical cost for the commercial and industrial sectors just to change ballast and change light bulbs and maintain their existing equipment with rental equipment.
Kory, we're going to need to take a break. I don't mean my apologies for cutting this up, but we need to take a break and then come back on that note on the other side of this break, all right?
All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
We'll be right back with Kory McMullen, CEO, Brightside LED, BrightsideLED.com. Special thanks to Jeff Roberts for the introduction. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba.
I'm Mervyn Price.